Hello and welcome to yet another episode of The Middleman on Enterprise TV. I am Juror Cyril Debacle. And on the show today are Juror Emeka Madunago, who has questions for Tinubu's CNG bus initiative. Juror Evans Ufeli, who will be examining the federal government's proposal for wages based on productivity, as well as debutant Juror Olayinka Oyegbile, who will be casting a glance at the political debacle in Rivers State. I will be examining the plan by Governor Usman Ododo to create an airport in Kogi State. All of this in just a bit. Stay with us. Middleman. My case, an airport for Kogi State. Ladies and gentlemen, a mystery is about being unraveled in the confluent state of Kogi. Actually, a confluence can bring more than two things together. And as we're about to find out, even immaterial things, including time past and time to come. Now, take this. We hear that the Kogi State government is about to establish an airport, which means we're finally there. Well, if you're asking where exactly, it means you didn't see it coming. But wait for the bomb. We may just be about to see the airport the now suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Betta Edu, and her staff flew to last year. I told you Nigeria is a fertile land for the impossible. I wonder why they even suspended her in the first place. Now that we're about to see the airport she flew to. Not to mention the hoopla in Abia, over 10 billion naira that was spent on an airport that the new governor says is looking for. I don't know that some airports can sometimes be visible and some can be invisible. After all, it's Nigeria where things can always, come together and just find a common meeting ground. But you see, even in Apia, that airport will appear at the right time. Or what do you think? Here's my verdict. In his first 100 days in office, Governor Ododo visited the NSA. And that was one of his achievements within that period. Only for some students at the State University to be kidnapped. Can you imagine that? They are killjoys, if you ask me. Don't mind those bandits, those kidnappers. But can the government be more mindful of security issues? Can the governor deploy the state security personnel to protect the state? And can he also repair roads? And fund agriculture? And create jobs and build better hospitals than building an airport that will fly nobody to anywhere? I so rule.
Well, it's interesting that the governor is focused on building an airport in a state that could arguably be one of the top 5, states in Nigeria. It's the only state in Nigeria where 2 big rivers meet, rivers Niger and Benue, which provides huge opportunity at that confluence in Lokoja for a GENCO, for a generating plant to be built. And then, that can power the whole of Kogi State and give Kogi State 24 hours power supply. I'm talking about Kogi State, for instance, the House of Assembly can quickly pass an electricity act. That will say, okay, that Kogi State will establish a GENCO and a DISCO side by side. So using, power from that conference, it will now distribute power to all homes in Kogi State and give them 24 hours electricity supply. I believe that will make Kogi the first state in Nigeria to provide 24 hours electricity supply. And it will not take them more than 9 months to achieve. If they need more details, they can pay me for consultancy. Yes. Now, this is Kogi State, where you have the AKK. The AKK, the pipeline called AKK, Ajaokuta, Kaduna, Katsina. The pipeline running to Europe passes through Ajaokuta, coming from Omoko in Rivers State, through which the federal government hopes to be supplying Europe with gas, natural gas. It runs through Ajaokuta. Now, a governor who is serious within 100 days can actually just site an industrial estate in Ajaokuta, given the significance of Ajaokuta, site an industrial estate in Ajaokuta. And just like Ogun State, no, let me tell you, look at the agriculture, look at the industrial revolution in Ogun State. It's all because of one thing. The gas pipeline on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, on both sides of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, coming from Escravos, immediately, Redemption, the RCCG, Redemption Christian Church, got tapped into it, built a turbine, and look at what it has done there. Then industries started taking left, right, even inside villages.
Yes.
There are some remote villages on Shagamu Abeokuta Road. See all the industries there. See all the industries on Shagamu Road. See all the industries from here, beginning from Beggar down on Lagos, but left, right, is because of one thing: gas, availability of gas. So what it means is that Ododo can just set up. It won't even take him anything. Just get some tractors, just get some bulldozers and all that. Demolish forests, put up signboard. You can even call it Ododo Industrial Estate or anything. Yes, you can call it Ododo Industrial Estate. And let me tell you, investors will troop it
up. But it is an airport.
No, you see, the problem with many of these people is that they don't realize that there are certain things you build up as a momentum to show you are serious. Then you can indulge in your fantasies. Look at Ogun State, for instance, now. Because of this gas pipeline provided by the federal government, not by Ogun State, you can see Benga Daniel, when he was governor, he built on it. Sold some land to industries. And most did his own. Now this government is doing his own. Then this government is now talking of building an airport. Take advantage of the low-hanging fruit first. Let people see, oh, you are serious. Now look, I'm going to attract 200 industries to Kogi State within the first 6 months. And then, take serious effort. Then you can now, when you are talking about building, you can see many people are not talking about the Ogun State Airport. Why? Because there are visible results. I think that's my advice, simple advice to my brother Usman.
Well,
yes.
Every governor tries to think of one big gigantic project that it becomes difficult for government, or it becomes difficult for people to be able to pin them down. What is this big project that he wants to do? So that when he tells you that he spent 20 billion, you say, I tried. They should do little things that will benefit people. Yeah. What do you need an airport for in Kogi? What do you need it for? So all I just see is that they are all saying all that because they need money to do some other things which are not open to us, and they just call it a one big project of building airports, building the one that is in Ogun, the one that is in Ekiti. What are they using them for?
No, well, let me just play the devil's advocate for just a few seconds. Now building an airport is not even a big deal because Kogi also has tourism potential.
No, but in Nigeria it is a big deal.
It's not the one that should build the airport.
It is what it
needs to do is to say, okay, Kogi is going to organize kayaking. There's this sport they call kayaking, events on the confluence of River Niger.
Yes.
And then close to it will be an airport. Of course, you can invite foreign investors, give them land as your equity. They will bring in money. Gradually, you will build up that equity.
They won't cream off fees from that. That's the problem.
Well, I'm not a consultant on creaming off. I don't know how to advise people on stealing state resources. But what I'm saying is this. For instance, in Anambra State, you see, P2B took care of education, took care of some other things. So by the time Obiano came in, he now told his aides, he said, yes, so P2B left a lot of money, but we'll be looking at money without spending it. And we'll have to spend it. Money is meant for spending. Then he built a conference center where you hardly have events. They now built an airport. All the people who said, Obiano is this, he's not performing, they forgave all his sins. So I think Ododo should follow that line.
Take a cue from that. Anyway, I mean, we're waiting on the issue, but it remains to be seen whether indeed money will be voted, and when it is voted, whether indeed we'll see an airport in the first place. But when we return, Juro Olayinka Oyegbile will be going to Rivers State to see how far or how close the political crisis there has been resolved. Stay with us.
You are welcome back. My case is the political brower in Rivers State. The case is between the Rivers State governor, Similaye Fubara, and his predecessor, Wike. Since Governor Fubara got into office, there have been issues between him and his predecessor, Mr. Wike, who obviously helped him into the office. And the argument has been, I put you there, I bought the ticket for you, I did everything for you, I did the campaign for you, so you must listen to me, everything that I want you to do. Well, he might have his point, but we all know that at the end of the day, who answered the query? The buck stops on the table of Fubara. Wike has done it 8 years. Fubara must do his own 4 years and answer his own name. So my verdict is the ongoing tussle between the governor and his predecessor should stop. It is uncalled for. Why are they bickering over the resources of the state? Wike is the minister at the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja. Is it that the job he's doing in Abuja is not tedious enough for him to face? That is why he wants to also administer Rivers State from abroad. The Yoruba will say there is no dog that is fierce and strong enough to guard 2 houses. He must either face Abuja as Federal Capital Territory Minister or return to Port Harcourt and sit down and maybe administer with the governor. So the governor and the minister should leave the governor alone and allow him to work, because at the end of the day, he is the one that the electorate will question.
Do you know the interesting thing in this matter? Both of them are actually governors. If you look at it in the sense. Because the constitution in some places recognizes Abuja as the 37th state of Nigeria.
Of course.
Yes, in terms of revenue allocation,
yes.
Abuja sits every month, the beginning of every month when there's a revenue allocation. Abuja sits there to collect its own
share.
Yes. So it is now a case of one governor disturbing another governor. And I think Fubara needs to, at this point, declare, there's a principle, I don't remember the name of that principle, but there's a kind of principle when a state, a neighboring state or another state continues to threaten the corporate existence of a fellow state.
Okay.
There is a principle that can be invoked. I think, Fubara can invoke that maybe at the Supreme Court. It's a Supreme Court that can adjudicate matters between state and federal government. I think I will advise Fubara to look into that, and maybe now that he has an attorney general, initiate such a case that the leadership of the Federal Capital Territory, which in a sense is a state,
is not allowing him
to carry out his function, and they now join the federal government as an interested party that has refused to
caution him.
That has refused to actually play its role in ensuring that this harassment stops.
Well, I think that this whole matter is heavily politically toxic. It has a lot of, shall I say, thickness. It's all politics. This whole Rivers issue is the height of politicking. It's a fully dagger-drawn situation. It's a zero-sum scenario. But what I want to say is, I think that sooner than later, the chips are going to come down. When the president does a SWOT analysis of Wike and Fubara and checks which of them will help him win Rivers State for a second term better, you can be very certain that this thing you're seeing, it will happen in such a way that you cannot be a bystander anymore. It will be so clear that the person are taking sides. What happened last year or was early this year, notwithstanding?
Yes.
Now that deal has collapsed. The president will not be in a hurry to wade into the matter again. He will realize now that he cannot make too many enemies and friends all at once. He will choose his side very carefully and take it determinedly. And when that happens, whoever is on the bad side of the equation will not be very happy to be on that side.
No, the other thing is that Fubara himself has now started, to act like a governor who knows the power.
Yes.
Those House of Assembly members who committed suicide, political suicide, will now understand, what it means. When Fauci was telling Fubara that if you start fighting with Wike, you have to keep fighting. And of course, like somebody said that when two elephants fight, the grass suffers.
Yeah.
Somebody said also when two elephants are playing love, the grass also suffers. So, it's not a rosy situation for the grass. So, now that Fubara, has done taking this step, and then Tinubu has come out to say he will not allow anyone to disrupt governance in Rivers State. I think it's all for Fubara. Just go ahead and do what is necessary.
And do the needful.
You have an attorney general now. You have an attorney general right now. So you have to keep invoking the powers available to you.
Yeah.
Then let the media also, your media team will be working 24 hours a day, 24/7 to keep pushing your case out there. Wike will get tired. He will really out.
Yeah.
I think that the end of this whole matter is something that we can already see coming. Because clearly now the governor has even gone on to set up a panel of inquiry.
Yes.
Which he says is going to probe
the Wike administration.
Yes. It looks like a classic chapter out of the book.
Yes.
But this is what...
That's the way. That's the way.
Yes.
You don't need to go anywhere, but he will keep Wike busy.
Of course, he will keep him busy.
And when they issue an arrest warrant for Wike, if he doesn't turn up, anytime they get into Rivers State, they will block his convoy. And then by the time he's embarrassed once or twice,
it will be enough for him to realize that. Yes,
realize that the game is up. And then he will release the state's aircraft in his possession. He's said to have commanded the state's aircraft. He will be forced to release it. Because when the tribunal issues a subpoena to NCAA and to the Inspector General of Police and to the Minister of Aviation, that why are you allowing an individual to operate that an individual has stolen property belonging to the state. So of course,
so much for what politics has become in our country. But that is fine. When we return, Juror Emeka Madunago will be asking whether the CNG buses can kickstart transportation across the country once again. Stay with us.
Middleman. You're welcome back to The Middleman. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. My case. Can President Bola Tinubu's CNG initiative work? Recently, President Bola Tinubu issued a directive to all ministries, departments, and agencies to reject memos calling for the purchase of gas-powered vehicles or internal combustion engine, vehicles with internal combustion engines, in favor of those powered by compressed natural gas, CNG. Now, the president said that his administration would ensure that, he joins the rest of the world to develop clean energy for Nigeria. And that his administration had also mustered the necessary political will. Yes, it is indeed an interesting one for Nigeria. Now, my verdict. You see, one problem we have in Nigeria is that too often we take on big ticket projects, big budget projects without considering the implications. We have seen the problems with electricity supply in Nigeria. That you see Gencos complaining about inadequate gas supply to their plants. And then again, Nigeria doesn't even have adequate gas to meet up with the AKK, the Ajaokuta Kaduna Katsina project, which is still in the pipeline that's to supply gas to Europe. We're having gas shortages. So we're not even sure that when that pipeline is concluded, that is completed and run through, to Morocco and then to Europe, that pipeline, that, we'll have enough gas to run through that pipeline. Ordinarily, even buyers of natural gas locally are complaining. Now, it is, even before the government decided on this policy, it should have been widely discussed and debated. You don't just wake up and just throw something like that, because it will take you some time to be sure of gas supply, to ensure that you have enough retail points for CNG. Like on Lagos Ibadan Expressway, you have just one point where they retail CNG. So how do you go about that? I saw room.
This is funny. I suppose that the issues connubating the taking away of subsidy before maybe they brought it back, we are not at all on the mind of government. One, revamping refineries. The president didn't say anything about that in his inaugural speech. Two, the so-called CNG buses, which I think the labor unions were even at the time were the ones raising it and asking, can there be an alternative if I recall well. Three, any other cushion that perhaps can come as an addendum. Now today, let's just come to cut the long story short. The CNG bus have become a major talking point in what we want to consider as a post-subsidy era Nigeria. But look at 1 year after, we're still discussing and debating on how best to deploy CNG buses. I agree with you that we could have had a debate around how we want to properly, you see, because no government can be an island to itself or on its own. You need the wisdom of 200 plus Nigerians to govern 200 plus Nigerians. The fact that government in Nigeria has become high-handed and overpowerful in a way that they can just decide anything and impose on Nigerians does not mean that they are fools or that they don't feel the impact of bad policies. Now, are we better off where we are today than we were before? No, we are not. It means that whatever policy government took, whether it was good or bad, something has gone wrong along the line. So the question is, what now can government do? Because our government don't apologize, they don't take back their words, they hardly come to say we are humble and wiser now because we know we know made a mistake. Because in the course of time, people have died, jobs have gone, families have been wrecked, and all sorts.
The policy was not well thought out. Why is it that it is a few weeks to the 1 year anniversary of the president that he remembers that he has not said anything policy-wise about the CNG thing? So it's just a case of just let us say something so that they will know that we are doing something. You have removed the so-called subsidy. It's almost a year now. No palliative or whatever they call it has been done. And the vehicles that you said the CNG vehicles, how many, as Emeka observed, on this long stretch of Lagos Ibadan Expressway, there's only one point. I live in Ota. From Ota to this place, I've not seen any point. So, assuming the CNG vehicles are even available now, the same problem of scarcity that we are facing with fuel is what we are going to be facing.
Absolutely.
Because there are just few dispensing points. Because the CNG thing is not solar. And neither is the electricity that you can charge at a point. You must go to a CNG point to fill it up. So what they are doing is just let us give them some talking points, yes, so that they can be talking. Then we can. That's the way I see it. They keep us busy. We talk about the CNG, that, and all that. No action taken.
But the interesting thing is that there's a story that already memos sent by Nigeria Customs Service and the Nigeria Shippers Council, for new vehicles have been rejected as a result of this directive. Now you're already implementing something where you don't have plants You don't have plants where people can.
Petrol vehicles to come in, they are already rejecting. Is that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Custom says they want to buy vehicles.
Okay.
Nigerian Shippers Council said they want to buy vehicles. But the memos were rejected because the president said, no, you have to apply for CNG vehicles. So,
are they enough already?
That's what I'm saying. No, Innocent is producing some, but what we need to do, we don't have it. There are value chains in it, but already you don't have plants where you can convert adequate plants. Then again, the cost of converting one way, you have not even sat down to look at the cost. Will government subsidize the cost through any of its through any scheme? I think they should think about it. If they are ready to bite the bullet, let them go ahead and commit some good billions to it. Then Nigerians, of course, will key in.
Well, speaking of talking points, is this also a talking point? When we return, a wage system for productivity, possible or impossible? That's the case for Juro Evans Ofeli. Stay with us.
My case, a wage system based on productivity. Thank God now the federal government have realized the importance of productivity in civil service in Nigeria. Now the federal government have proposed that are coming up with a wage system that will reflect productivity in the civil service. In this case, you may have two civil servants with the same qualification earning the same money or the same wage system or wage based on their productivity. In other words, the National Productivity Center headed by Dr. Nasser Mohammed have said that this proposal is critical for the improvement of the productivity of labor in Nigeria. And by so doing, they are going to collaborate with international organizations like the ILO and other organizations to ensure effective implementation of this new wage system that will reflect productivity in Nigeria. Before now, we know how workers in Nigeria go about work. The NLC, who before now have been clamoring for a new wage system, a new minimum wage system that will improve their living condition. They are hereby met with this new proposal that the National Productivity Center is pushing forth to the federal government to implement, to ensure that people are not just paid wages, but that they are paid wages according to the level of input and according to the level of their productivity to the country. And by so doing, this will increase productivity and the capacity of civil service to deliver, or civil servants to deliver in Nigeria. While this measure is often and always implemented by the private sector, wherein your productivity is measured by devices, technological devices that measure productivity, punctuality, input, intellection, and all that. The public service have now decided to embrace that. Now, how well this will be managed is a different thing entirely. Okay, how well the civil service will manage this, or the federal government will manage this, will become a different ball game. I think that to enforce this in such a way that you now have to pay them in different ways according to productivity, there's a need to amend the law too, and there's a need to put in so many other policies for this to work. Okay. Now, my verdict: the federal government does not need, to go about collaborating with international organizations here and there. All they need is to invest in technological devices that already exist, that they can use to monitor workers and brings up to enhance productivity, punctuality, and the ethics of professionalism and work in Nigeria by installing CCTV camera machines that monitor punctuality, machines that will monitor work inputs, and that will also summarize this generally in terms of what should be paid to a worker who have complied, with all the measures and all the technological devices that have been put in place to ensure that there's productivity in our workspace. We do not need to go into all collaboration of such. All we need is to ensure that people are disciplined, our people are law-abiding, they are compliant to corporate governance, and the proper procedure upon which productivity is guaranteed in the international community. International best practice should be adopted as civil service to enhance productivity in the Nigerian civil space. I shall go to Rabbi again.
Jiro Evans has rightly and succinctly dissected the issue. You cannot just talk about different wages for civil servants on the same level without laying out how you intend to actually do this thing. The Buhari administration said the same thing, but ended up doing nothing. In the private sector, it's done seamlessly, And Jiro Evans has actually said that, yes, you need technology to do, there's a clocking in system. Then there are systems that are used to, assess productivity and all of that. But by the way, when you have the human element, given the way we treat serious issues in Nigeria, there's going to be favoritism. People are going to be discriminated against. People are going to bring in cronyism into it.
It is to be expected.
And it will be grossly abused. So the best thing is this. There should be, like what is done in the private sector, there should be periodic assessments, general assessment. Let each, you have to distribute forms, what they call upper forms, distribute those upper forms, and then let people, in their own words, tell the management how they have contributed, how they have done their duties. It's a common practice in the private sector. So I think we need to, just like one of those talking points that the government throws out, we should just view this suggestion with suspicion. Even though it's a good idea, but they should make haste slowly on it.
No, you see, the thing is that what are the yardstick that they are going to use? What is going to be taken into consideration when this thing comes into being? Because if you say you are going to take it from the point of clocking in, somebody can clock in at 7:30 a.m.
and take a walk.
See, even if he doesn't take a walk, he can sit down in his office and sleep off or be watching movies. And then at the end of the day, he clocks out at 3:30 or is it 4:30? So, what exactly has he or she done for that day is what should be the yardstick. It's not a question of he arrived early, he didn't leave early, he did overtime. What exactly was he doing within that stretch of time? Because you have a situation where people think, let them just see me that I'm in the office. That is it. No, that's not productivity. In fact, sometimes somebody who is not in the office might be more productive than you that are in the office. Because if you have a duty on the field and the person goes to the field, you will be looking at it in the office that is not there, but it's on the field working. So this nebulous productivity measurement that they are talking about, they must find a better way in which they are going to measure it, because what they are thinking about is no longer obtainable in the modern world.
Now, you just look at this. We are still in a country where we are talking about minimum wage, which we have not even fixed. Now, instead of facing that one, the next thing we hear, they want to bring what they do in America to Nigeria. Okay, is not a bad idea. But I think that before you talk about wage for productivity, the first thing to ask is, what is even the nature of work? Because the discussion should begin with the kind of work we do.
Yeah.
You know, when people say I work only 4 hours a day, 3 hours a day, I can negotiate my wage.
Yeah.
We don't reach that level. No. I don't think so. We are not there yet. You know, there's this thing about, like, I recall many years ago when Lagos government came out and said that they wanted to begin a transport system in which you pay for the number of hours you spend in a cab.
Yeah.
They knew that Uber was coming. Because it was a few months later, Uber debuted in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So how can you do that with yellow buses?
Now they are talking of monthly rent. Take note too.
You know, so good ideas are good, but do you have what it takes?
Do you have the
Do
resources?
you even need to copy? Because that idea
Yes.
is not implemented in the U.S. federal civil
System.
service. I'm
You can
aware of that.
imagine
It's in the private sector. And now, the thing is this. It allows mobility between jobs. You know, when people just see an idea, they will sit down and apply the necessary intellectual rigor. They just, okay, let's implement it. Let me tell you, it allows mobility. For instance, somebody can work 3 jobs in a day.
Yeah.
Because why? Over here, I say, okay, today I will not clock 8 hours. I'll clock in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Then from here,
Going to another.
I'm going to another place, you know, I'll clock in, because the average worker has to put in between 8 and 10 hours of productivity every day. So I'll clock this number of hours, I'll clock here, I'll clock here. So it is left to me. Now, if you want to turn your civil service to a cash and carry civil service, you will destroy the Nigerian civil service further. Because Nigerian civil service is not a private sector, is not part of the private sector.
They are not
In the private sector, there are ways things operate.
Yeah.
But in government, you have to do a lot of thinking before a policy is approved.
What I even had the man say was like, you have your job, then if you do more than what's expected of you, you have some extra. But I know what are they doing?
But it exists now. There are rewards now.
There are reward
What are they doing?
You have appraisal forms now.
I know.
You have appraisal forms. There's a reward system. What are you
saying?
See, these people
Get
are
to the office
just
and go and be watching Nollywood or
yes, of course, you are doing more.
American.
When your guy comes, you run and open his door for you, carry his bag. That's extra work. You go and buy beans or rice for your guy, and all those. That's extra work now. I mean,
recharge card voucher, banana, granite.
of course.
Okay, anyway, thank you so much, Julius, for being on the show today.
Thank
It's
you.
been a joy having
Thank you very much.
Online, you've been making your debut with us.
Thank
We hope
you.
to see some more of you. And
Hopefully, yes.
and Jure Meka Madunagu, of course.
Thank you very much.
And to Jure Evans Ofeli, who has been joining us from the diaspora. We're glad to have you on the show today again. And to our viewer, it's been a joy having you keeping a date with us on this episode of the program. We invite you to continue and join the conversation. You can leave a comment in the section over at YouTube at Enterprise TV 7. You can also visit all our social media handles using the same address. Of course, our website is www.enterprisetvnews.com. Until we come your way again, it's bye from all of us. Bye.
Bye.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.